Так. Так, вот все работает. Вот так чуть переименуем. Всем привет. Вот сейчас будем учить, соответственно, для категории А, ПДД. Ну, конечно, я живу в Румынии, потому будет, соответственно, на румынском. Ну, тут, конечно, английский перевод есть, ну ладно. Так, сейчас, секундочку. Вот, кстати, скобцы тут я просто читал. Вот. Так. Блядь, что я хотел? Подожди. Так, и чтобы другие зафиксировать, если на бумажечке какой-нибудь. Ты сколько раз я проходил это тут? Сейчас, секунду, подождите, я сейчас. Вот так. Все, достал свою тетрадку. Сейчас будем смотреть, сколько я раз проходил. Итак, the indicator in the image tells you that you must withdraw early in the right lane. The road has a belt for slow moving vehicles. Ну, это, конечно же. At the junction with a... Катя, сейчас я скину какому человечку там. Я, короче, еще не настраивал, получается. Бля, где это? URL, вот. Я еще, короче, не настраивал там. Ой-ой-ой, ну вот слава богу, хорошо, ничего там не видно. Так вот, я что... Когда же на самом деле зарежка медленная? Вот. At junction between the communal road and local road, the cross priority is granted to... Бля, надо написать, типа, что комментарий не читаю. Ладно. Бля, наверное, только надо, когда... Хочу посмотреть. Кстати, какое у меня тут качество? Ну, достаточно низкое. Итак, бля, где мое кольцо, которое позволяет мне успокаиваться в нервную систему? Вот оно. Итак, сейчас продолжаем. Так, junction between communal road and local road, the crossing priority is granted to vehicles running on the local road. Vehicles running on the communal road. Так, junction between communal road and local road, the cross priority is granted to... Я не помню, кто равен, коммунальная дорога или, типа, локальная дорога. Типа, местная дорога или коммунальная? Мне кажется, типа... Мне кажется, коммунальная, мне кажется. Да, коммунальная. Can you change direction of going to the red signal of the traffic light? И что, типа, скорее всего, здесь будет несколько, типа, серий. То есть, типа, это не первая будет серия, а где-то вторая. Вот, типа, кто-то не шарит. Can you change direction of going? Бля, что-то я плохо говорю, сори, я сегодня плохо выспался. Так. Так. Can you change direction of going to the right, the red signal of the traffic light? Can you change direction of going to the right? Можешь ли повернуть направо на красный сигнал светофора? Ну, это, конечно же, нельзя, потому что... Нет, нельзя. So, what obligation does you have in a given situation? To move cautiously as the indicator signifies a crossing for pedestrians. When meeting the indicator, you have the obligation to reduce speed because it follows dangerous intersection. To move carefully. No, наверное, to move carefully, наверное, да, вот. Does the driver of motorcycle have the obligation to pass the change to the left hand direction while the green signal is in operation? Does the driver of motorcycle have the obligation to pass the change to the left direction when the green... Я думаю, что нет, но давайте перейдем на всякий случай. Я, наверное, про скобцев, наверное, закрою, чтобы тут было... не было пари такой. Так, сразись, мотоцикл обязан уступать дорогу при повороте налево, когда горит зеленый сигнал светофора. Нет. Cursor priority, да. Обязан уступать левым. Ни хера не понимаю. Еще раз. Да, как транспортное средство, движется во встречном направлении, так пешеходно, проезжающий на улице, которого он намерен повернуть. Серьезно? Бля. Так, давайте я тут поменяю немножечко, потому что мне не очень комфортно. Вот сейчас вот темнота вышла, не пугайтесь. Блять, не пугайтесь, как вы сейчас обосрались, типа, после этого. Ладно. Сейчас я тут... Хотя нет, давайте, можете посмотреть даже, типа, вот. Так, устройство захвата... Так, захват окна. Вот, значит, у нас тут получается Edge. Значит, захват Edge. Вот, сделать источник видимым. То есть вот это, дальше автоматически. Так, это типа, чтобы никто не смотрел, потому что я пишу, получается. Так, я тут не совсем просто понимаю вопрос, потому я... Нужно спросить там человека, который разбирается в этом, потому что не понимал логику тут. Дорога при изменении направления движения налево. При изменении направления движения налево, когда... При изменении направления движения налево, когда... А, движение типа налево. Стоп, типа, если я поменяю дорогу налево... Стоп, типа, сейчас, мне кажется, я понял, Мне кажется, я уловил суть, как это должно выглядеть. False dangerous intersection. To move carefully. Так, это у нас получается тут... То есть дорога налево. То есть вот, например, машина. Типа вот она берет. Типа движется. Налево. И тут, получается, есть другая машина. Обязана ли она уступать? Ну, блядь, ну я смотрю, на самом деле, как-то даже не очень. Не, ну хотя сейчас, секунду. Не, ну хотя в некоторых случаях, конечно, надо, на самом деле. Типа вот тут я сделал тут ситуации разные. Когда водитель мотоцикла обязан уступать дорогу при смене направления движения налево, когда горит сигнал светофора. Так. Так, what do you mean in this career? A signal that a railway agent as a level crossing with a natural railway. Сигнал работника железнодорожного. Обязан водителей мотоцикла to hurry, ensure and stop, to hurry or to stop. Stopping is prohibited. The action of narrow road. То есть получается тут narrow road, да, первое. The area of action indicators that prohibits overtaking in the area. То есть, так. Так, сейчас кое-что, секунду, я тут выключу кое-что, потому что я не хочу, чтобы мне другие тут приходили. Время этого. Да, вот. Stopping is prohibited an action of the narrow road in the area of action in case that prohibits overtaking. At the other stationary vehicles if this hampers the movement of two vehicles coming from the opposite direction. Не совсем не понимаю, что здесь типа это значит. Рядом с другими остановившимися транспортными средствами, если это затрудняет движение двух транспортных средств, движущихся во встречном направлении. Так, ну в принципе, да, то есть temporary deviation. What is the significance of such road marking? Temporary deviation of the traffic. Mark for forbidden spaces. Marking on acceleration band. What is the significance of the such road marking? Marking on acceleration band. So it's if when crossing the track you find that the vehicle stationary on the railway road. Так, we provide support for removing the vehicle from the railways. If not possible, report the presence of vehicle. Так, я тут, простите, я тут заряжался, потому что что-то тут, блядь, что-то пиздел тут, конечно. Значит, пиздец, сколько там у нас времени уже? 14 минут уже. Так, what is meaning of the indicator in the image? Priority road. The driver of a motorcycle is obliged to present himself or herself at the police station that is quoting him here or her in order to solve an issue related to this or quality of leader. Not to drive after consuming drugs against chronic diseases. Мне кажется, вот это, да. In which situation... Блядь, что мне прям... In which situation stopping is prohibited. Ничего, association is prohibited. In the action area of prohibited station. Less than 50 meters from the nearest corner of intersection. And curves on the sector or road reduced visibility below the action. Вот это. Серьезно, то есть. Тут стационаре. Тут стационаре. Типа остановка именно. Так, what driver motorcycle on public road and refuse to collect biological levels their rental. Да, буду я буду пенализирован. Пеналь. Drive a car in including environment it is recommended maintaining a constant. Вот это что ли? Нет, maintain a constant preferable medium speed. In which the switch does more fuel consumption increases when the engine doesn't reach operating temperature. When the engine doesn't reach operating temperature, when exhaust fumes are black, when the engine is running intermittently. When exhaust fumes are black, when the engine doesn't reach operating temperature. Так, voluntary stopping is forbidden on non-illuminated road sections, at the guided intersections. At guided intersections. On priority road. Серьезно, типа на guided. Серьезно, типа. Voluntary stopping of vehicles, junctions, concrete roundabouts, as well as in the pre-selection area where continuous marking applied, and in the absence of this marking shall be prohibited. Ну да, логично. Да, это имеет смысл, да. Так, what does the significance of the road marker in the image? The transfers pass through a marking. What do you do when you ride a motorcycle on public road? Do you meet a back-to-back roadside policeman with your arms stretched horizontally? Типа вообще, типа двумя, если двумя, тогда типа очевидно, что будет. Поступите, если двигаетесь на мотоцикле по дороге общего пользования, вы встречаете дорожного полицейского, стоящего за спиной к вам, с вытянутыми сторонами руками. Stop for the motorcycle. Я сейчас ничего. Так, репетар, так, дальше 45, значит, то есть, получается, мы сделали сейчас уже один тест, ну, конечно, неправильно, но все равно как-то сделали. Значит, сейчас я запишу теперь это. Так, значит, первое. То есть первый мы раз сделали. Теперь дальше второй. To drive a car in a clean environment. To drive a car in a clean environment, it is recommended maintaining a constant preferable medium speed. Конечно же. In which situation is stopping prohibited? In curves and on sectors of road with reduced visibility below 50 meters. When encountering a group of pedestrians engaged in crossing through a spot marked with marker, the biker has an obligation. Biker. Бля, что-то biker. Что-то слишком у меня типа. Как это артизированный беглогласный, что-то у меня такое слишком какой-то глубокий. Когда мотоциклист встречает группу пешеходов, проходящих в другом месте обозначенного, он обязан, остановиться, конечно же. Prepared to walk the pedestrians in their direction. How to fix a foot paw fracture with thongs and thick bandage from toes to knees. The leg is suspended in a rigid strap with the thongs. Thongs это вроде типа как... Это вроде как типа бикини, это что-то подобие типа бикини, как выглядит, конечно, странно, на самом деле. С шинами я листал. Я думал слинт, типа это вроде типа rigid strap, типа это, значит тут Тишина. Или стул цепляется от пальца до колена. Voluntary stopping is forbidden on priority at the guided intersections. Which of the following facts committed within 12 months of reimbursement of driving license drove the configuration section to suspend exercise of right to drive for 60 days? Я 15, если 15 вроде 90. Violation of legal provisions regarding the use of night lights. Violation of legal provisions. Revealing at least 50 penalty points. When another vehicle is running in the opposite direction, are you allowed to overcome? When another vehicle is running in the opposite direction. Are you allowed to overcome? Yes, if the mirror is not passed or the axle of the road. When the driving license is retained by the police. For not doing the medical exam, for violation of meaning of the yellow light of traffic light, for exceeding the maximum permitted speed by more than 15 kilometers an hour. When approaching an industrial railway, a vehicle driver will show increased caution. Caution, increased caution. Stopping is prohibited at the other stationary vehicles. And the area of action of indicators that prohibit overtaking. Так, in the action area of narrow road, конечно же. In the action of indicators that prohibit overtaking. In the area of action indicators that prohibit overtaking. At the other stationary vehicle, if this hampers the movement of two vehicles coming from the opposite directions. What does indicator in the image mean? Prohibited the access to unaccompanied children. Required passage for children. Children, конечно же, обозначает. The following indicator shows that you have priority over the vehicle running from the opposite direction. Конечно. What does traffic band you have to swing to the left at the intersection marked with such markings? Ну, это называется on the lane 4, конечно же, number 4. Так, does the driver of motorcycle have the obligation to pass the change to the left-hand direction while the green signal is in operation? Does the driver of motorcycle have the obligation to pass the change to the left-hand direction while the green signal? Так, yes, both vehicles running from the opposite direction and pedestrian crossing the street is about to enter. A cyclist circulates among vehicles stationed at the right side of the road. A cyclist circulates among vehicles stationed at the right side of the road. What do you need to keep in mind when approaching the motorcycle? The bicyclist can engage on the road without being assured. At the intersection where traffic is circulating, the driver of motorcycle is forbidden turn by passing roundabout. Stop motorcycles out for traffic situations. What has the obligation to wear a helmet while driving public motorcycles? Their leaders by motorcycle. Stopping vehicles is forbidden on the road side of the national road. Так, on the castways, it's your property adjacent. Так, in action area of вот это получается. At the red signal of the traffic light, have the right to enter the intersection. Motorcycle light. Vehicles for fire, rescue, and police when in mission. When driving on motorcycles, the motorcycle driver is forbidden to overcome the other vehicles. To stay in emergency except in justified cases, to stop to remedy malfunction. Так, вот мы уже сделали, получается, с вами уже там. Теперь второй. Так, теперь мы сделали ниже второе. Я не знаю, сами сколько хочу. Вот, в принципе, меня говорило, что типа мне нужно где-то 20 раз типа за день типа делать, мне кажется, тогда вообще буду очень быстро мне прогресс будет продвигаться. Вот. Теперь, конечно, мне качество говно. What is the intersection entry order? Так. Так, у нас получается лево, значит получается motorcycle, car, bicycle. Motorcycle, car, bicycle. Почему? Блядь, дебил, я перепутал. Я перепутал положение, типа, я забыл, что лево, типа, бля, я перепутал лево с правым. Да, у меня есть путаница с левым и правым. Does the backer the picture correctly write the truck? Так, вот это, what is the responsibility of the owner of the motorcycle he has from a person driving public road to instruct the person about the use of motorcycle to communicate this person identity? Of the police, да, конечно же. The meaning of the indicator means bumpy road. The victim who has lost much blood needs to be seated with legs located above the body level. What do you have to wait if you are in downhill crossing? У знака с двумя полосами. One of the driving license retained by the police in case of violation, in the case of repair. Red light signal when crossing the level in the roadway with barriers. In case of repair of motorcycle without authorization of police. What is that? How should the driver motorcycle go to level with the rail when barriers are raised? How should the driver motorcycle go to level with the rail while they are raised? To this speed, a motorcycle can cross carefully, ensuring the railway vehicle is not approaching from the left or right. How does the sanction of non-compliance with the driver with the obligations to stop signals from railway agents? Блин, это административка или... Мне кажется, административка. Нет, это просто полностью fine. If you're involved in an accident, can you leave your seat without police consent if it is a result in the person's... Yes, the motorcycle has not been damaged. Yes, if the accident did not... No, not because you committed a crime. The dinger in phone warns you that there is a road on which protected cars are fitted. There is a level crossing with the railways provided with barriers or semi-barriers. Barriers or semi-barriers. Так, how to fix the foot paw fracture with thongs and thick bandage from toes to knees? How will you proceed if if at the entrance to a junction a traffic light is on the green signal but it is blocked due to the congestion? Как поступить, если на въезде в перекресток горит зеленый светофор, а на самом перекрестке заблокирован из-за пробки? Ну, like, turn off and wait for unlock and then jump into the intersection on the green signal of the traffic light. How are injured people supposed to be taken out of the car? By pulling... Катя на самом деле думаю, что я могу, наверное, даже... Так я думаю, что даже на здесь могут чат даже сделать. Once a broadcast. Катя, ебать, реально, как здесь. Мне кажется, надо как-то там подключать, мне кажется, типа, наверное, настройки трансляции там нужно. Это вообще хуево настроено. В плане так, горячее специальное видео. Так, ну ладно, я там потом посмотрю, получается, как там настроить чатик, блядь. Сколько может там здесь? 32 минуты. 32 минуты хуйня как занимаемся, конечно. Так, how are injured people supposed to be taken out of the car? By lifting. By lifting, конечно же. Да, собирайся таким липсингом заниматься, ебать, как качалки. Which of the fingers in the image signals a tram station? Ну, второй, конечно. Почему? Окей, почему, давай. Не, типа, я не понимаю. Ну, так он же, второй же тоже предупреждает, получается. Какой из знаков на изображении обозначает остановку трамвая? Обозначает он... тогда да. Так, how do you need to meet this sneaker? Give priority to vehicles circling intersection. Bypass the center of intersection through the left. Run at maximum speed of 40 kilometers an hour. What is the significance of the pointer in the image? Signals that pass for pedestrians. Basically pass across for pedestrians. Eco driving in the driving motorcycle means be calm and Так, do not pollute the environment by using the maximum power sound system. Be calm and sweat. Вот это, блядь, что-то не прочитал плохо. What is the intersection entry order? What is the intersection entry order? Так. Значит, ну, понятно, что становится... То есть, получается, машина, то есть, направо, значит, получается, то есть, у нее приоритет, получается, красный, то есть, car, motorcycle, truck. The car, motorcycle, truck. Так, who has priority in a roundabout intersection? Vehicles that turn right, the vehicles run on the right compare vehicles already in the intersection with those to enter. Так, все, мы уже прошли уже 3 раза тест. Есть заказ, сколько займет, на самом деле, в принципе, можно даже посчитать, сколько это. Ну, типа, если у меня каждый будет там занять по 10 минут, в принципе, ну, в среднем, по крайней мере, да, в среднем, то по 10 минут, то, скорее всего, займет там... Давайте сейчас мы посчитаем. Откроем калькулятор. Блять, я камеру скрыл случайно. Калькулятор. Так, у нас получается тут 20, получается, на, значит, 10, да, то есть 3 часа, у нас всего лишь 3 часа займет, на самом деле, в принципе, 3 часа, 3,5. Это получается где-то, наверное, 20 минут, то есть, ну, возможно, даже мы сегодня даже больше сделаем, наверное. Возможно, опять же, зависит от того, насколько я захочу это делать. Насколько мне придется завтра там еще много готовиться к урокам всяким. Так. Да, так, the highway is forbidden. Moving or stationing an emergency lane except in justified cases. Так, moving or stationing an emergency lane. The use of deceleration will change direction of travel. Driving speed of less than 60 kilometers an hour. Мне кажется... что, серьезно? Типа, можно, типа, меньше 70 километров? The use of acceleration belt... да, можно уж минимально там 50 километров, да. The use of deceleration belt to change direction of travel. То есть, таки можно, получаться... Ну, блядь, да, типа, я что-то тупанул. Вот. The immobilization of fractured arm is made, compromising the fractured bone and the upper joint. Compare the fractured bone and 2 joints, respectively, to the upper and lower ones. The flashing yellow light of the luminaire installed in the area of pedestrian crossing compels you taking care to avoid pedestrian speed. Speed reduction in the use of headlight. but speed reduction compliance with signal. Что? Как? Я не понимаю, в чем разница. Типа, то мигает, блин, тут один получается. Сейчас спрошу там. What is the significance of the road marker in the image? Traffic cross marker stop. If the green signal is in operation, does the biker have to pass the change to the left direction? If the green signal is on operation, does the biker have to pass the change to the left? Я ни хера не понимаю. Если green signal обязан отступать дорогу при повороте налево? Нет, не обязан. In the cross, ну да, вот это. In hemorrhagic wounds, in the initial phase, the stop bleeding, конечно, stop bleeding. Does the biker overtake truck correctly? Does the biker overtake the truck correctly? Yes, the overrun is legal. Бля, я просто видел, помню, что там может... What obligation do you have if you encounter... What obligations do you have if you encounter a vehicle that signals with special blue warning, lights and other signals? Reduce speed, moves close to the curb as possible to give priority to the vehicles. How to sanction non-compliance with driver with the obligation to stop signals from railway agents with the fine and penalty points. Antiseptic substances are used for disinfecting wounds. Так. Is overtaken by the biker in the picture correct? Типа, я знаю, типа, что он трамвай, типа, может обгонять спокойно. Я вот это знаю на самом деле. Типа, но я не знаю по поводу того, что может ли, типа, это байкер там обгонять по правой стороне. Ну, по идее, наверное, да, может, конечно. Если, типа, трамвай может какие-то, то почему здесь не может? Eco driving is... Eco driving in the driving in motorcycle means be calm and anticipate situation to avoid sudden acceleration braking. In emergency lane, can you turn around using the links between the two directional motorways? In any emergency, can you turn around using the links in the two directional? Я не понимаю, что это значит. Типа... Блять, уронил. Через чрезвычайной ситуации можно ли разворачивать, использовать соединительные полосы? Мне кажется, нет, нельзя. Room on the right side of the reflective stick by the policeman who accompanies a fishing or vehicle lines behind it to stop as close as possible to the edge of the road and where possible to take the vehicle out of the carriageway. What is maximum speed limit you're allowed to drive on European national road as applies a subcategory of A1 vehicle? 50 километров. 80, бля, я обосрался. What type of the hemorrhage? Я вообще не знаю, как это вообще слово приносится, на самом деле, я не смотрел. Так, meaning, так. Hemorrhage. Или hemorrhage. Hemorrhage. Типа hemorrhage или hemorrhage. Hemorrhage, так, да. Hemorrhage, да. Ой, да. Так, what type of hemorrhage is more dangerous? Any small visible bleeding. Where do you wait if you're on downhill crossing? In front of the barrier, да. Which of the things is in the image signal at tram station? 1. What is the intersection entry order? Так, я помню, значит, получается, должен пойти мотоцикл, что он, типа, знаешь, сначала кар должен пойти. Это, which teacher stop is prohibited. Так. At roundabout intersections, next to the prohibited parking. Мне кажется, на остальных улицах можно, на самом деле. Так, вот мы уже прошли с вами уже. Ого, как быстро, конечно. Так, очень быстро, блядь, что микрофон. Что-то через жопу, блядь, держи его. Так, значит, мы тут уже с вами прошли уже аж целых 4 теста за это время. Вот, я кому напоминаю. Только что зашел на стрим. Так, дальше теперь. Катя, у меня, Катя, что там интересное? Типа, у меня какая типа категория стоит? Так, у нас возрастные категории. Так. Are you required to immediately stop the motorcycle on signals from the authorized border guards? Так, я что написал, как там? Непонятно. The flashing yellow light of the luminary installed in the air protection crossing compels you. Speed reduction. This reduction in compliance with signal and traffic rules applicable in the area. You're required to immediately stop the motorcycle on the signals from the railway agents at the lower crossing. The driver of motorcycle is obliged to allow control of technical condition of motorcycle as well as other goods transported under the law. Ай, блядь, что-то я забыл. Так, does the biker overtake the truck correctly? Not because No, because the vehicle is approaching in the other direction. How does this indicator mean a bumpy road? Bumpy road. On a public road with no more than 2 lanes on the way, with a third lane on which tram line is located near the road, access motorcycle drivers. On the public road with no more than 2 lanes on the way, and the third lane on which the tram line is located near. Whereas, on which tram is located. Дороги общего пользования с не более чем 2 полосами в одном направлении. Which tram is located can use с не более чем двумя полосами в одном направлении. То есть 2 полосы в одном направлении. А с третьей полосой, на которой расположен трамвай. И с третьей полосы, на которой расположен трамвай. Линия рядом с осью дороги. Так. In what order do the vehicle cross the intersection? Так, car. Дальше. How does a motorcycle driver have to do when he encounters a cross-facing policeman in the intersection, which makes him decide to continue his journey to conform to the cop's signal? What type of hemorrhage is more dangerous? Which causes a rapid loss of blood? The highway is forbidden. Moving the station on this direction about to change. Subjustified cases. Does the biker in the right think is a picture? That signal. Так, is the motorcycle or taken correctly? No, the warning is in this case forbidden. Так, which of the following vehicles image has to right cross the intersection? Motorcycle. The stop on path with signs stalled the traffic. The stop and passenger signs stalled the traffic must be met. When indicators when traffic light do not work. The indicator in the image means two-way circulation. What is the significance of this behavior, children? Indicator. Which of the following obligations rest with the driver of motorcycle? Which of the following obligations rest with the driver of motorcycle? Which of the following obligation rests with the driver's motorcycle? Travel speed lower than the prescribed minimum mandatory speed when passing by. Блин, ну он... Блять, ну это сложно, это очень сложный вопрос, если так подумать, потому что, типа, ну там обязан вообще остановиться по факту, я не знаю, вот, типа, то, что ты обязан просто остановиться, типа, на curb. What is the maximum speed limit that you are not allowed to drive on European national roads outside of localities category A1? Так, 70 километров, не, подождите, 80 километров, или 70 километров. Мне кажется, 80. Так, вот мне тут объяснить. Так, окей, значит, у нас тут уже 62 уже. Вот уже 5 у нас. Тут. Так, тут уже тут есть 5. Дальше проходим тесты. What vehicle categories have priority on a narrow downhill road? That climb if existing a passage is insufficient. So that climb if existing passages is insufficient. Where do you mount distinctive mark on motorcycles for driver of less than 1 year from the date of obtaining the driver license? At the rear of motorcycle next to the registration number. Мне кажется, так, типа, вот registration number. Так, значит, поворот направо, значит, это, значит, получается, car, motorcycle, truck. Car, motorcycle, truck. Motorcycle, да. At the policeman signal with the left arm leaning horizontally, facing the approaching motorcycle, driver must to stop immediately. What is prohibited in this given situation? To travel speed more higher than 60 km, the indicator is addressed to drivers public means of the transport. Which of the fall should be given? What vehicles should be given the priority to the switch to the indicator meeting accompanied by the educational panel? Ну, типа те, которые, получается, движутся налево, и те, кто движется направо. We vehicles running the priority road indicated by the thick line on the additional sign. Не понял. В смысле? Ну так тоже уточняется, типа я... Так, все, я понял, потому что типа они правые, да, они типа правые, получается. Типа поворачиваешь направо, то, естественно, типа ты обязан им как бы уступать. Which of the following situation does license of motorcycle without the right to drive to be retained? When the braking system the means of detecting the presence for No, you have accidentally crossed the highway exit, and you that you did to her. How move on until the next exit. The figure in the image warns you about that a ramp over 10 degrees. Не понял. Ну, типа, действительно там 10 градусов. Раз нет, типа, это получается наклон, который там 10 градусов. Или я что-то не понимаю. Пандус. Блядь, это пандус. Нахуй пандус? Нет, нет, не пандус. To move carefully. Я чуть не понял. Ну, типа, те, которые, получается, движутся налево, и те... 9 минут прошло. Сколько мы уже так-то? 57 минут. Okay, on what roads are you allowed to stop and station the vehicles on the left side? Сука, ну ебучий стул, как же, блядь, я не свой... Короче, у меня там только что ударился об металлическую, получается, вот эту сножку, которая держит сам стул, со всей силы, костью. Причем это очень неприятно. Я тебя отдала, сейчас мне очень тяжело, мне сейчас башка разболелась только что из-за этого. Бля, как же больно, пиздец. Бля, мне сейчас... Мне разболелись височные... Мне виски... Височные доли у меня разболелись. Или как называется? Височная кость. Нет, место... Меня разболелось. Место... Там, где находятся височные доли, вот. What roads are it allowed to stop and station the vehicles on the left? Walking. Single way roads if at least one traffic line remains free. The driver of motorcycle is obliged to submit regular medical checkup according to the law. The law control technical conditions of motorcycle as well as the goods transport under the law. What does a motorcycle have to do if he enters an intersection at the time of changing the green signal and the previous of the yellow? Что должен сделать мотоциклист, если он въезжает на перекресток в момент переключения зеленый сигнал на желтый? Что должен делать мотоциклист, если он въезжает на перекресток в моменте переключения зеленого сигнала на желтый? В момент переключения зеленого сигнала на желтый, ну, to stop. В моменте въезжает, типа, окей. Without sidecar motorized vehicles, mopeds and motorcycles. Я не vehicle, мне кажется, motorized vehicles. Так, the floodlight installed on the sidewalk runs the red signal at the suspended one for the left-hand direction of the green signal. Does the driver want to go ahead, has to right entrance the intersection. Бля, так. Сколько у нас тут получается? У нас тут 14 ответов. Прожектор установлен на тротуаре, показывает красный сигнал. От переезда для поворота налево зеленый сигнал. Правый язык, который хочет ехать прямо, вправо, въезжать направо. До перекресток. Not because forward movement is allowed only when the green signals is on both. Not because traffic lights are. Так, what vehicles categories do not have cross priority? Vehicles that are under the roundabout intersection with vehicles traveling through. Так, типа. Так. Которые собираются въехать на перекресток кругового движения по отношению к транспортным средствам. А, понял. Ну да, конечно, типа вот. Vehicles with cross priority circulation, vehicles in the regular public transport that are moving from the station provided with alveolar. Да. Автомобиль регулярно слушает общественный транспорт, который начинает движение от остановки с броневым карманом. Автомобили регулярных служб. Автомобили регулярных... What do you have to do when a school bus stops with flashing warning lights on? You have now moved with great care. How do you approach an intersection where outside the traffic light that runs the green signal do you honestly care about the passage? Respect the significance of the traffic light. Respect the significance of the traffic light. You have to stop the motorcycle as the signals from the members of patrol school. Members of the school patrols from pedestrian crossing near educational establishments. Authorized personnel of ministry transport. Official working on in the road administration. That when the victim of the traffic accident stops, his heart beats, the cardiac message is performed through the rhythmical crossing of victim's chromes simultaneously with artificial respiration, by rhythmical pressure with overlapping palm in the heart. On public roads with no more than 2 lanes on the way and with the 3rd lane on which the turn line is located near the road access, the motorcycle drivers on the public road with no more than 2 lanes on the public road with no more than 2 lanes on the way with the 3rd lane streamlines located near the road access, the motorcycle drivers can use the table on which tramline is located without disturbing its circulation. Так, 66%, вот. Ну, опять очень быстро. Мне даже кажется, типа 20 понадобится. Не, ну, хотя если типа из нее нужно сделать почти 10 раз, потом будет. Вот уже 6 раз сделали. Все, дальше теперь идем. После этого. Так. Which of the following facts is considered a crime and punishable as such? Repairing the motorcycle with the traces of accident without police authorization from the obligation to speed the motorcycle to periodic technical inspection. Leaving the accident site that resulted in damage. Инфракционное это получается уголовное. Нет, инфракционное это вроде преступление само. Подепешьте. Overcoming is defined as follows. Overcoming is passing a vehicle ahead of another in the same direction of changing in direction of travel or leaving lane that originally located. The passing of vehicles to another which runs from the opposite direction. Passing a vehicle ahead of another in the same direction by changing direction of travel or leaving the lane that originally located. Вот это, конечно же. What is the maximum speed limit with which you allow to drive a category A car on national European roads in localities? Мне кажется, 100 максимальная скорость. 50. На категории А 50 километров на нас. Нихуя себе, как там очень коротко. If you're traveling in a roundabout, give priority vehicles to enter the intersection. To any vehicles, да, точно. The additional panels at motorway helps. Бля, уже как-то что-то проебался очень много. Which of the leaders is acting unlawful? Motorcycle, нет, both leaders. Почему? Потому что motorcycles did not come close as the right hand of the road, so it signals to be overtaken. Чего так держал? Знак запрещающий, типа. Тут знак стоит, который запрещает. Почему неправильно? How far should the driver of motorcycle use the oil warning advised to prevent pedestrians and other vehicles drivers? How far the driver of motorcycle use the oil warning device? То есть получается 25, наверное, 25 метров, ну, потому что как на машинах. Ну, на категории Б, конечно же, в транспорте. What are the drivers on motorcycle with a policeman ask for documents for control? Means your personal documents. To hand over the documents provided by law. What line should you occupy and from what distance so that you can execute the left turn in an unruly intersection? What line should you occupy and from what distance that you can execute the left turn in ruined intersection? The road near the border, a distance near the road access. What does a motorcycle have to do if he enters an intersection at the time of changing the green signal and the presence of the yellow? Can they continue the movement? At the meeting of the vehicle in the picture, his background may exceed any vehicle. Блять, я дебил, я забыл опять это. How will you normally park in the roundabout market? How will you normally park in a roundabout market? Park on the sidewalk, мне кажется. Сигнализирует о въезде в поворот с помощью соответствующих средств. Сигнализирует о въезде в поворот с помощью соответствующих средств. Just speed and move carefully as you enter the particular dangerous curve. The image means a dangerous descent. Мне кажется, типа вот это, типа descent. Так. Decent. Which of the two ingredients? Сейчас, подождите, мне кое-что. Подождите, один знакомый только что сказал кое-что. Сейчас я посмотрю. Ох, ебать. Ебать, тут, конечно, это Сидней. Нифига себе, там, конечно, мне казалось. Вообще, давайте-ка. Так, давайте Москва. На месте Кремля. Подождите, а где Кремль находится? Подождите, Кремль. Да, блять, ну как орёт эта хуета, ну просто невозможно. Он прям находится прям в самом центре. Где это? Так, подождите, реально, блядь, а где этот? Подождите, реально, где этот флаг? Серьезно, даже не просто прикалывает. Теперь тут вижу. А, а. Вот этот. Нихуя себе тут, конечно. Гетера. Позор. Гетера, типа, это гетеросексуалы? Путилково. Бля. Which of the... Так, сори, что прервались немножечко. Which of the two indicators makes it necessary to change the direction of the traveler to the right after exiting the place where it is installed? Which of the... Мне кажется, первый. Второй. Both the indicator force direction to the shift to the right. The difference between the two indicators is the following. The meeting indicator 1, the maneuver is performed before the spot where the indicator is installed, and the meeting of the indicator 2, the maneuver is performed after the spot where the indicator is installed. Так, the key means forbids access to two-wheels vehicles, except for motorcycles without sidecar, access to motorcycles. Так, of all the vehicles, what is the significance of the pointer in the image? Follows at an intersection with the priority road. Road. Так, which of the vehicles in the image takes the precedence? Ну, конечно, the car, because it is on the priority road. When crossing the crossing sign located at the level crossing without barriers, motorcycle drivers must without seeing the indicator. 69. Так, 69, блять, 69. Нет, мое любимое число. 69, только не 69, пожалуйста. Сколько тут можно снимать? Час 20 минут, кстати. Ну, это, конечно, тут немного ебланил. Так что вот. What is the maximum speed limit with which you're allowed to travel on a category A? Так, what is the maximum speed limit which you're allowed to drive on a car with on a national road European 50 kilometers an hour? Which of the leaders is as acting unlawfully? Motorcycle, because it did not come close to the right hand edge of the road, although it was signaled to be overtaken. Which one of the vehicles in the carrier makes necessary to change direction or travel to the right after exceeding the place where it is installed? Second. Dash. What is the maximum speed limit with which you are allowed to drive a category A car on the county road side of localities? Мне кажется, 50 тоже километров. Вы серьезно? То есть, подождите, то есть, на... то каунти, да, типа каунти. Каунти это же, блядь... как же переводит каунти? Муниципалитет, муниципалитет, хотя я не знаю, что муниципальный. With the rule of... Это, конечно, сейчас такая стучая история. Мне просто там тяжело сидеть так на месте. Ну, не знаю, шиз какой-то, ну, или СДВГ какой-нибудь, понятно. Так, what is role of the cross priority at the intersection of two roads of the same category with undirected traffic? What is the rule of cross priority at the intersection of the two roads at the same category with undirected traffic? What is the rule? Так, what is the rule of crossing priority at the intersection of the two roads? What is the rule of cross priority at the intersection? Right priority, вроде как, да. Random tram, я просто пытался понять, что тут написано. Random tram can usually be overtaken. Так, он... Его обычно эти сани по праву обгоняют. Так, whereas vehicles mopeds motorcycle without sidecar. Вот. If you're traveling in a roundabout, give priority to any vehicle. How is the right hand overtaken to be sanctioned without signaling the machine in the direction of travel? With the fine, я думаю, типа... With fine and contravention. The fine for those offenses and suspension of the exercise of the right to drive the vehicle. Серьезно, право нельзя обгонять, типа? Нет, типа, нет, я знаю, что нельзя, я просто не знал, что, типа, настолько нельзя. Что даже получается, что тебя даже права, типа, аннулируют. Так, what does it mean? Minimum speed limit. Recommended. Как это понять вообще? Секунду, я хочу... Боже, что это такое? Боже мой. Ладно, я не буду говорить, что видел, это просто кошмарно. Вы не слушаете такого жить. Нет, вы не слушаете такого знать. Какой-то кошмар. Опа, так. Так, вот мне написали. Сейчас. Repeated changing of the driving beam with the passing beam is used at night. To signal the driver of a vehicle has engaged in dangerous overrun, admitting of vehicles coming from the opposite direction at the intersection that are not directed by lights of the... Так, вот это. Admitting... Что? They're not directed by light signals or by the road policeman. Сейчас немного подправлю микрофон, то есть... Так. Так. Так, вот так. Все. Значит, многократное переключение дальнего света на ближнее используется в ночное время. Многократное переключение. Так. Многократное переключение дальнего света. Многократное переключение дальнего света на ближний. В ночное время, понятно. Сколько у нас времени? 1:25. What maneuvers are forbidden on the highway? What maneuvers are forbidden on the highway? Так, using the accelerator belt to change direction of travel, moving or stationing in emergency lane, except in justified cases. Ну, конечно, вот это получается. Access to motorcycles. Access motorcycles. What does a biker have to do when he wants to overtake? To ensure the signal attention and to maintain sufficient lateral distance to overtaking a vehicle and to re-enter on the right side after being convicted. Right side? Что? А, на правую сторону. Видите, после того, как видать опасность. What should the motorcycle drivers engaged in Так, motorcycle drivers engaged in traffic accident have to travel resulting in material damage in order to obtain findings. Get drivers engaged in traffic accident to have to travel to the nearest competent police unit within maximum of 24 hours. Which vehicles are allowed to enter the red traffic light intersection? No vehicles have those standards for firefighting, ambulance, and police when moving. Ну, короче, это надо. Penalty points apply to non-observance of the significance to stop and installed crossing the railroad level. At 30 kilometers of max speed allowed on the road sector. Обгон со скоростью. Ну, вот это типа оба, да. How will you normally park in roundabout market? Parking is not allowed in this place. What ingredient is to be found in intersection of 100 meters from indicator 1? Is to be found at intersection of 100 meters from indicator 1. Ну, конечно же, 3. Да я же видел, что 3. Ну вот-вот, я же видел, что 3. Я только что думал. Вижу, смотри, индикатор 3. Блять, просто пиздец, как ты, ебать слепой, конечно. Which of the following facts is considered a crime and punishable as such? Removal from the obligation to submit motorcycle to periodic technical inspection. Some repairing the motorcycle with traces of accident without police authorization. Луина. Вот это типа, да. 73. То есть мы с вами уже прошли там, в свою очередь, уже 8 раз. 8 раз. Жесть. Так. Подожди, сколько еще раз я сделал тест? 8 раз, да. What is the maximum speed limit with the vehicle you're allowed to drive a category A and county roads outside of localities? Ну, 90 километров. 90 километров. Exceeding motorcycle is forbidden on pedestrian crossing. In the action area of overtaking motor vehicles, have the motorcycle without sidecar. A motorcycle on pedestrian crossing at the entrance to an intersection. In the action area of overtaking more except motorcycles with a sidecar. Почему? Обгон мотоцикла запрещен. Обгон мотоцикла запрещен at the entrance to an intersection. Ай, бля. То есть гонять. Но не имею права. Recommended speed tag. When you're traveling on the European national road, you're forbidden. When you're traveling on the European national road, you're forbidden. Towing another vehicle. Towing another vehicles. Using audible warning device. Voluntary staying on the road. Конечно, voluntary. Which of the vehicles have priority crossing? Вот этот truck. Truck, motorcycle. Truck with a motorcycle. What is meant by the ecological driving of a car? What is meant by ecological driving of a car? What is meant by ecological drive? What is meant by ecological driving of a car? What is meant by ecological driving of a car? Urban cycling measures through which significant energy savings and environmental protection are achieved. What are your obligations if you have obtained a driving license for a motorcycle for less than a year? Apply to travel with the roads in operation during the day. Ну так если посмотреть. How is right hand overtaking to be sanctioned? How is right hand overtaking? Так, with a fine for offense and suspension of access to the right to drive the vehicle. Третий. Первое, второе, третье. Третье. Repeated changing of driving beam with passing beam is used at night. At the meeting of vehicles from common vehicles engaged in a dangerous overrun, acted by light signals or by a road policeman. Сейчас, секунду. Что такое еще раз? Так, что такое сократический вопрос? Так, when leaving a country yard on a public road. Так, ладно, сейчас давайте решим этот тест. When leaving a country yard on a public road, the biker has the obligation to pass the passing of only right-hand vehicle. When leaving a country yard on a public road, to pass the passage of all vehicles running at the moment on a public road. Так, indicates proximity to mobile bridge. Flashing yellow traffic warns you the traffic light is defective. You're bound to observe the traffic rules applicable at that intersection. When is the driver or motorcycle obliged to stop? Approaching an intersection or when it is signaled with the hand lights by another road user. At the signal of leader and organized groups. The signal of pedestrian crossing near the school. You're driving forward in the first intersection. Who should you give priority? Nobody. What are obligations of a biker who of the right signal that appears to be missing with the yellow one? To stop. Are you allowed to drive the motorcycle on public roads without securing the carriage on both wheels? Если вам управлять мотоциклом на дорогах общего пользования на пользование не обеспечивая контакт с прежней частью обоих колес. Я думаю, нет. You're approaching a crossing over the track and notice that the semi-bar is descending. How do you do? Stop in front of the semi-bar. How does the biker mean to the pass indicator? Give this speed ensures and if on the crossing road vehicle. How should the 8 HLs be immobilized? Fracture. Long enough to fully cover both the top and fracture area. Что? Блять, почему здесь 3 варианта одновременно? Я не понимаю. Каким должен быть шины для манипуляции перелома? Твердыми, легкими. Блять. Понятно, я не понял, да, вопрос. Так, у нас тут получается счет 9. Ну, тут получается еще лишь. Либо тут у нас 9. Так, секунду, сейчас мы посчитаем, что такое сократический вопрос, потому что мне важно. Сократический вопрос — это вопрос, который помогает сместить к самому исследовать и проверять свои убеждения, вместо того, чтобы сразу давать ему готовый ответ. Он нас в части философ Сократ, который вел в диалог именно так. Задавал серию продуманных вопросов, чтобы человек шаг за шагом обнаружил противоречие и уточнял в своем понимании. Основные черты сократического не утверждает, а следует. Вопрос не навязывает мнение, а заставляет думать. Направлен на логику оснований, выясняет, почему собеседник думает именно так. Вызывается, например, человек начинает искать аргументы и замечать пробелы. Пример вместо это неправильно. Почему ты так? Какие будут последствия, если так сделаешь? Если так сделать? Что произойдет, если твоя гипотеза верна? А что если нет? Так. Так, понятно, все, понял. Так, да, это сократический вопрос. Так, еще раз здесь смотрим. Теперь у нас здесь равно 1. Сколько у нас? Делаем стрим 1 час 46 минут. How is the failure of pedestrians engaged in crossing public roads to be punished when they have this right? How is the failure of pedestrians? Я не понимаю, что значит это. Как назвать водителям, он сказал, за не предоставление преимуществ пешеходам, начинаем переходить дорогу, когда у них есть право. By finding suspension of right to drive. Is the backer one of the next image running correct or overtaking? No, yes it does. Да, yes it does. When leaving the residential pedestrian zones, you're required to give priority to pedestrians of all vehicles you intersect. Of all vehicles you intersect with. When you exit the pedestrian or residential area, you have the obligation. Когда ты покидаешь, я не почитал невнимательно. The immobilization of motorcycle by the road policeman is ordered. Так, for the refusal to legitimize. For lack of further. You're approaching a forest road that enters the road on the right on from which car comes. Who has to wait? Forest road that enters the road. Coming down at high speed, the vehicle coming out of the road. Вот это, конечно же. Так, the biker who wants to change direction of walking must observe the light signal. The light signal of the traffic lights on the console. Так, the transportation of victims to the hospital can be done with an ambulance accompanied by a doctor. Ambulance specified, equipped for a purpose. The vehicle that caused the accident, if the victim's conditions allows it. How should the HLs immobilized a fracture rigid long enough to fully cover it up with light? If the cop is in front of approaching motorcycle with his right hand extended, must continue because right. Which of the following facts applies to driver's license for non-compliance with legal? for not obeying the police officer's signal. Так, in which of the continuation stopping is prohibited at a distance less than 25 meters before and after station indicator for the public transport of persons, a distance of less than 25 meters from the corner of the intersection. Что, блядь, distance less than 25 meters before and after station for the public transport of persons. Так. At the request of the road policeman, together with the representative of the competent authorities, driver motorcycle is obliged. At the request of the road policeman, together with the representative, to allow control technical conditions of motorcycle and good care to submit your travels documents. How do you make the police signal with the vertical upright? Start in a variable direction and wait for the next signal. Exiting motorcycle is forbidden at the entrance at pedestrian crossings. At what distance from the crossing and rail are installed? At what distance from the crossing? Осталось честно. Философия, риторика. At what distance from the crossing with the rail are installed the additional warning panels? Ну, 150, конечно же, это типа... On a 3-lane highway, traffic was blocked. Where will the interventional vehicle circulate? Between the lane, the left and the middle lane. Where the highway is blocked, priority moving vehicles moving on the intervene. Блять, я забыл, потому что это intervention vehicles, типа я не понял, что это именно вот эти быстрые, типа, которым транспортное средство специального значения. What are the obligations of motorcycle driver to cross the level with the current railroad with barriers if they're being lifted? Until the barriers is fully. What is the additional panel that comes with the pointer stopping? The end of the area where is it obligatory to equip more vehicles with the first aid kit? What are your obligations to meet the indicator? Так, у нас тут получается уже 10 даже. Так, сейчас я вернусь, я пописываю. Сколько мы с вами уже пошли тут? Уже почти 2 часа. Да уж. Что-то, Алло, так, я тут. Вот. Так. Так вот написал? Нет. Так. Я думаю, какой-то такой пикчер, как новости поставить, получается, на канал. Ну, хз, посмотрим. Как все пойдет. Так, давайте повторим теперь еще раз. The white cane raised by a pedestrian crossing the street through the unsanctioned marketplace forces you stop the vehicle immediately to allow the pedestrian to pass. Вот. At the intersection marked by signs and markings, you are required. At an intersection marked by signs and markings. Marked by signs. You're required to run at speed not exceeding the 30 kilometers. Я не понимаю, типа, что это значит. Так, на перекрестке обозначенным знаками. На перекрестке обозначенными. Так, на перекрестке обозначенным знаками. Ребятки, вы обязаны. Move with keep correct crossing to run a speed not exceeding 30 kilometers in towns. If the road has at most one strip and pedestrians on the sidewalk near the carriageway tend to cross. Most close possible to accompany the right side of the sidewalk. Keep correct crossing when the pedestrians engaged in a regular crossing. Ну вот это. Has at most one strip and the pedestrians on the sidewalk near the carriageway tend to cross. А в чем разница? Я не понимаю. Типа тут и там же сообщается, а потом там же. Двигайся скоростью не превышает 10 км в час на 17 пунктах и 50 км в час за их пределами. Если дорога имеет не более одной полосы в каждом направлении и пешеходный натураль рядом с проезжей частью намеренно перейти дорогу. Понятно, все, я понял. Да. On the 3-lane highway, traffic is blocked. Where will the intervention vehicle circulate? On the emergency lane. When leaving the residential or pedestrian zones, you're required to give priority. All of the vehicles you intersect with. When you exit pedestrian or pedestrian area, you have an obligation to give priority to crossing all vehicles you intersect with. What signals does the adjacent signal mean? Traffic band in both directions. What is vehicle that not have crossing priority? Which of the vehicles do not have? Vehicles that are moving or coming out of the garages, country yards, those rent public roads. Vehicles that descend on a slab in relation to the vehicles that climbs if the direction of walking is a real obstacle. The vehicle that makes the turn to left to those running from the opposite direction. Вот это descend a slope in relation to the vehicle that climb if in the direction of walking and climbing is a real obstacle. In which situation can be used signaling with the audible warning in locality where the corking is prevented in real intersections. Signal with the audible warning in locality where the corking whenever necessary to avoid immediate danger. What are obligations to meet the indicator? No obligation. The biker enters the intersection. Прав, значит, получается сначала, то есть сначала получается у нас справа, то есть car, motorcycle, truck. Biker enters second. In which situation stopping is prohibited. A distance less than 25 meters before and after the station is indicated for the public transport persons. Distance less than 25 from the corner of the intersection. How do you mean the panel in the indicator? Stop and ensure prioritize all the vehicles. Which of the following facts applies to the driver's license? For non-compliance with legal provisions on overrun, for not obeying the police officer's signal. Emergency lights are used in the following situation: when road lights have failed. Emergency lights. When you're disoriented about the route to follow. When the vehicle is intentionally immobilized on the roadside and while you're being towed. Signal from police vehicles which accompanies an official vehicle calmed by using special sound and light warning device oblige. Сигналы, подаваемые из полицейского автомобиля. Сигналы, подаваемые из полицейского автомобиля. Сигнал, подаваемый из полицейского... Сопровождающий официальный колонн, использование специальных звуковых цветовых предупреждений средств обязывает их outside of the carriageway as close as possible to the curb of moorland until the column passes. О боже мой, блядь, еще там почти полтора часа. What are your obligations on the public road? Do you meet the vehicle belonging to the ambulance service on the remaining intelligence service who use light and sound warning device? If you speed and release the band, you're moving or move as close as possible to the curb of moorland. The indicator means так, maximum speed. Minimum speed limit. Так, получается там кругло, а если квадрат, но он теперь рекомендуется скорость. What steps do you need to take when moving under atmospheric conditions that hinder visibility? Use position... Так, вот вроде нужно интонируя. Use passing lights. Так вот. If the cop is in front of the approaching motorcycle with his right... Is in front of the approaching motorcycle with his right horizontal arm extended, the driver must continue because the cop is not signaling him. How do you proceed at the intersection if the policeman is showing you his back with his left arm is outstretched horizontally? Keep going. Are you compelled to subject yourself to biological example in the event of traffic accident resulting in death or injury of bodily integrity or the health of some persons? Так, у нас получается тут... Возможно, даже не 10 тестов мне понадобится, если я не выполняю эти все 20 тестов. Я дебил, описание путаю, блядь, я перепутал. The indicator informs you about... Это вроде бы не турнаж, это... Motorway entry, блядь, я долбоёб. Driver motorcycles are forbidden to use emergency lights. Leave the handlebars free. You're required to immediately... Блядь, уже здесь делал. You're required to immediately snap the motorcycle on signals from... Authorized persons in the field of work on public roads. Is it voluntary to stop the motorcycle in tunnels? Not. In the case of clavicle fracture, the shoulder is handed slightly forward, drawn to position proceeds as follows. Bring your shoulder to normal position. Put the arm in the scarf. If the truck is moving at the speed of less than 40 kilometers, can it be overtaken by the right? No, it's going to work out by the right side. Да. Which of the indicators gives priority? Priority road. Да. Specify which of vehicles are exempt from cross priority. Specify which vehicles are exempt from cross priority. Those coming out of the yards, garages. Vehicles from the regular public. Что? Почему? Укажите, какие транспортные средства освобождены от обязанности предоставить преимущество в движении. Укажите, какие транспортные средства освобождены от обязанности движения. Понятно, все, я понял. Which of the indicators makes it necessary to change direction of the first three to the right? Второй, в смысле? Я не понимаю, так он же, типа, когда ты его пересекаешь, ты обязываешь, типа, уже там использовать его. Что это такое? Какие из указанных знаков обязаны изменить направление движения первой улицы направо? Что это вообще? Что это значит? Что это значит? Я не понимаю просто, что за бред написано тут какой-то. Какие дорожные знаки требуют от водителя повернуть направо на первую улицу? То есть, при въезде на перекресток, подчиняясь переменным знакам, нужно обязательно повернуть направо и на первую поперечную улицу. Все понятно. Так, ну, просто выглядит. Какая первая улица? Какая первая улица? Какая вторая улица? Какая первая улица? Какая первая улица? Что это значит первая улица? Ой, бля, что это вообще значит? Какая нахуй первая улица? Какие дорожные... Какие дорожные знаки требуют водителя повернуть направо на первую улицу? Бля, о боже, как же мне стало неприятно сейчас из этих терминов. Просто я сейчас сдохну. Я ни хера не понимаю, что значит первая улица, блядь, что это такое? Подчиняясь переменным знакам, нужно обязательно повернуть направо на первую поперечную улицу. Я понял, то есть надо... То есть на поперечную улицу надо повернуть. Right, and force you to turn right at the intersection before which is installed the maneuver being performed after the anchor has been exceeded. Which of the vehicles do not have crossing priority? Vehicles that stand a slop. That could climb in direction of walking with the climbing a real obstacle vehicle, the more moving common of garages, country yards, those running in public roads, the vehicles that make the turn to left to those running from the opposite direction. The left horizontal stretched arm of the cup signifies for left. Horizontal stretched arm, так, vehicles coming from the front. At an intersection marked by signs, marks you're required to run. Give priority to crossing when the pedestrian engaged in a regular crossing or you're in your direction. To run at speed not exceeding 30 kilometers an hour in towns or 50 kilometers an hour outside of them. If the road has at most one stripe and the pedestrians on the sidewalk near the carriageway intend to cross. Who has priority of crossing the intersection? Image. Red car, bus. The bus, the car. At the unhinged intersection. At the uninjured intersection between county and road and communal local one. Vehicles coming from the county communal local one. Ну, конечно же, vehicles coming from the county road. What do you need to keep in mind when driving alongside a string of stationary vehicles? A door can be opened at any time. One of the occupants of the vehicle. Observe the good speed because drivers of vehicles are obliged to ensure that when opening the door. What is the main cause of tire explosions during walking is... Что такое профайл model? Профильная модель. Чё, блядь? Да. What does the motorcycle driver do when approaching the level crossing with barriers, semi-barriers? Does the two-rate light intermediately and alternatively stops because the barriers are horizontal, or are they going to go down? What is the duty of driver of motorcycle that changes direction of right hand directly to the green traffic light while the pedestrians are engaged crossing? The signal to change your direction travel and to maintain sufficient lateral distance to the right rim. Signal to change your direction and give right crossing. Engaged in crossing is straight to be signal to change your direction and continue its travel with caution. Which of the vehicles have crossing priority? Those motorcycle, truck, motorcycle. Я, конечно, таким вариантом, наверное, больше 20 сегодня сделать даже. Так, ладно. What is advisable to shut down the engine to reduce fuel consumption in the of long stop at level crossing with the rail? Блять, я не читал, понятно, да. То есть that usually lasts a lot. This indicator in the image means ending all restrictions and the priority road. Which of the indicators makes it necessary to change the direction of the first street to the right? Второй. The indicator informs you about motorway entry. What does the indicator means? Image ban. Access to all vehicles. What location do you have to signal the members of school patrols at pedestrian crossing near the educational establishment? Какие обязанности у вас есть при сигнале членов школьных параллельно пешеходного похода вблизи учебных заведений? Конечно, to stop. When approaching an intersection, if the green signal changes with yellow one, you stop the motorcycle in front of the stop sign. Подождите, мне кажется. В момент приближения к перекрестку, если зеленый сигнал меняется на желтый, вы обязаны to stop the motorcycle in front of the stop sign or pedestrian crossing marker of the traffic light. Is it allowed to turn off the stopped motorcycle in front of the railroad crossing barriers? Типа обгонять, наверное. Вот. Разворачивать мотоцикл, установленный перед шлагбаумом на железнодорожном переезде. Yes, if Bucker has already. Yes, since there is no other vehicles, the return to the place is forbidden. What is the significance of the indicator commanded by the digital panel? Mark the beginning of the area where stop is forbidden. Begin. If the cop is at the intersection with the front of the motorcycle driver and sends him a signal other than his position, which means stop, the driver must be. Если полицейский находится на перекрестке, водитель мотоцикла подает ему сигнал отличный от положения стоп, водитель должен to observe stop the cop's signal. In the case of injured persons with the column fractures, it is advisable to use means of transfer with platform, namely vans, trucks, and if the ambulance cannot move the scene of the accident. How do you need to meet the sneaker stop in the place where you have maximum visibility without crossing the corner of the intersection, ensuring prioritize the passage of vehicles traveling on the priority road. Stop the passage. Which of the signaling types below will be met with priority? Signal indication of the policeman. What does the indicator in the image with the additional panel warns you? Follows danger distant over 300 meters. A section of road. Что это значит? Спуск, начинающий 30 метров от места остановки знака. Понятно. А это что значит? Я думаю, типа на протяжении 300 метров. 300 метров. Ну, начиная с этого знака, или просто типа не дает, просто дает информацию. А, ну, это просто дает информацию, что такое будет. What's the significance of the mark in the image? Pedestrian crossing mark. What measures does the driver of motorcycle engaged in the accident of light damage? What measure does the driver of motorcycle engaged in the accident with the light damage? You remove the motorcycle. The police announced remove the motorcycle out of the carriage, or if it's not possible, move as close as possible to the side of the road that announced within 24 hours. The nearest command the police until to find and draw up illegal documents. Specify which vehicles are exempt from cross priority. Vehicles from the regular public transport service which were removed from the station provided with the alveolar. What are your obligations when you're leaving the highway? Reduce speed, signal early engagement. Вот это так. In a rural intersection, the driver motorcycle is obliged to treat priority to fire extinguishing vehicle running from the left. Operate a special luminous acoustic signal. Yes. Which categories of vehicles are permitted to run on the motorways? Those who by construction cannot exceed the speed of 50 km. Tractor propelled agricultural machinery. Понятно, да, тут я забыл. Хорошо, значит. То есть... Так, what can you go over the opposite direction of walking at the meeting such of the road mark? Yes. That's a motorcycle in the image correctly exceeds 2 cars. Not because the regulation forbids this mirror. Which categories of vehicle are forbidden to run on the motorway? Which categories of vehicles are forbidden to run on motorway? Thus, tractors and self-propelled agricultural machinery, those who by construction cannot exceed the speed of 50 km an hour. A signal given by the thrust personnel in the area of work in the public roads by rotating the boom, you have obligation to circumvent the obstacle to increase the speed of the vehicle. The green traffic light allows movement in any direction of the vehicle in the middle, unless the rest provided by means of signaling. With what speed will you drive on the highways when the speed is less than 100 meters? Under fog, heavy rain, heavy snow. Конечно, блять, ну 50 километров, конечно. Change the left hand direction in an expected intersection while the guiding marks is done. To the left. Неожиданно, типа. Поворот налево на перекрестке не предусмотрен, но направляющая разметка осуществляется поворот налево на перекрестке не предусмотрен. Слева от воображаемого. Слева от воображаемого центра перекрестка без пересечения траектории встречных средств поворачивается налево. Слева от воображаемого центра перекрестка. Слева от воображаемого центра перекрестка. Слева от воображаемого перекрестка. Без пересечения траектории встречных средств, поворачивающих налево. In the cat, you are required to signal the change of direction from at least 50 meters. When is it advisable to shut down the engine to reduce fuel consumption? When is it advisable to shut down the engine to reduce fuel consumption? In the case of a long stop at a level crossing with a rail, in the red color traffic light that usually lasts a lot. What does indicate in the image with the additional panel warns you? Follow the danger distance that starts 300 meters from where it is installed. In pedestrian crossing, some children have already passed on the road access. What should you consider? Children may have unpredictable reactions. Move with increased attention, because they have overcome your sense of direction. Accelerate and keep going. Children may be operating direction. Move with increased attention. What is the maximum speed limit with which you are allowed to drive a carrier A on national road outside of localities? 90 км, конечно. 100 км, понятно, 100 км. What line should you occupy? And from what distance, so that you can execute the left turn in the road intersection? A left row. At the meeting of whose indicator have motorcycle crossing priority? Intersection with the road without priority. Представьте, с каким знаком отсылка имеет преимущество движения. Или преимущество движения. Дорога без преимуществ, привязка к дороге. Вот это, я понял. What is significance of after lowering the arm of position of traffic policeman if traffic continues traveling from behind towards him? Stop. Due to bikers and drivers of animal towing vehicles always have to give priority. Not if the road time was not provide for this. Так, which of the cars must be stopped at the red signal? Which of the cars? The car. Which of the meaning of the indicator in the image obliged you to use the lane nearest the sidewalk, forces you to bypass the right place where it is installed. What is the significance of the such road markings? Marking on the acceleration area. In which situation is a driver of motorcycle obliged at night and to change the driving light with the passing beam? If from the opposite direction the vehicle approaches the distance of the list. Так, вот. Так, теперь мы еще раз, теперь 14 сделали. If you're involved in an accident, can you leave your seat without police consent if you result in injury person, not because you committed a crime? What vocation do you have in a given situation? To move cautiously as the pre signals crossing for pedestrians. What is the maximum speed limit with which you're allowed to drive a category A car on national European roads outside the localities? What is the maximum speed limit with which you are allowed to drive a category A car on a national European road outside the localities? 100 km. Who has priority in the roundabout intersection? Vehicle that turn right. The vehicle running on the right compared to those running on the left. Еще раз, то есть сколько мне еще надо сидеть тут? Блядь, еще 50 минут где-то. Who has priority in the roundabout intersections? Who has priority in roundabout intersections? The vehicles running on the right, vehicles already in the intersection with those to enter. Which of the situation is the registration or registration certificate is retained? Which of the situation is a registration or registration certificate retained? When the engine meets a pollutants beyond legal. When the periodic technical inspection has expired. Понятно. At the uninjured intersection between a county road and a communal or local one, the priority of passing granted vehicles between county road. Which of the following situations is prohibited to stop motorcycle on public road? At less than 50 meters. Distance less than 25 meters before and after the station transfer, less than 50 meters from the nearest corner of the intersection. Серьезно, что там было написано? Station is forbidden on the road sections where overtaking is prohibited. On the road side of national roads. On the road sections where overtaking is prohibited. In the actional area. What is the duty of the driver of motorcycle that change the direction of the right-hand traffic to the green traffic light while engaged also in the signal change? What is its duty of the driver of motorcycle to change the direction of the right-hand traffic to the green traffic light while the pedestrians are also engaged in traffic? To signal change of direction. At the request of road policemen, together with the representative of the competent authorities, the driver of motorcycle is obliged to allow the control of technical conditions of motorcycle and the goods carried. Admitting of those whose individual has motorcycle was priority. One-way intersection with the road without priority road. What is meant by the ecological driving the car? A set measures through which significant energy savings in front production are achieved. Can you go over the opposite direction of walking at the meeting of such not? Which of the bands should feed the biker and from what distance from the intersection to change direction of going to the right on locality? On the right. Ну, я не знаю, там, конечно, там, какая же там. До какого полоса должен мотоцикл из какого расстояния до перекрестка, чтобы повернуть направо на населенном пункте? Ну, направо. Правый. How do you behave when you ride a motorcycle at night and do you feel tired? You need to take a break for the rest. What vehicles are you allowed to enter the road traffic light intersection? No vehicles except those intended for firefighting. Так, you're required to immediately stop the motorcycles on signals from traffic of guides of It's permissible to penetrate the connections between the two carriageway parts of our way. Penetrate the connection between the car. How long does it take to keep track of change? How long does it take to keep track of the change direction throughout the duration of maneuver? А, еще нет. At the intersection where traffic is circulating, the rail motorcycle is forbidden. Блять. На перекрестке с круговым движением водителю мотоцикла запрещается. На перекрестке с круговым движением водителю... На перекрестке с круговым движением водителю... На перекрестке с круговым движением водитель запрещает some motorcycle except for traffic situations. Сука. Это рафляна. То есть она и стала, то есть я понял. Ай, так, дальше 15 теперь. Which of the situations is the registration or registration certificate is retained? When the engine emits pollutants. When the periodic technical inspection has expired, when the engine emits pollutants beyond the legal limits allowed, if the idle engine noise exceeds the permitted legal speed, limit. Specify which of the following signs indicates a unique way. Both indicators. How are injured people supposed to be taken out of the car by lifting? What are the obligations of the biker on the red signal that appears simultaneously with the yellow one? To stop. Since stopping is prohibited at a distance of less than 25 meters from the corner of intersection. At a distance of 5 meters. Which of the bands should feed the biker from what distance from the intersection to change direction of going to the right in locality? Which of the bands should be fit for the biker and from what distance on the right light at least 50 meters. Так, stop is prohibited at the other stationary vehicles if this hampers the movement of the vehicles coming from the opposite directions. In the action area of narrow road. In the area of action of interiors that prohibit overtaking. At the other stationary vehicle if it hampers the movement of the vehicle coming from the opposite directions. Is it permissible to penetrate the connection between two racheway parts of the motorway? No. Which of the following situations permitted to stop a motorcycle on public roads? Less than 25 from the nearest intersection, a distance of less than 25 meters before, now, and after the station indicated public transport persons on the roads of the national. То есть я куда, блядь, me ебали, я куда отвечаю на вопрос, да, типа. If the green signal is in operation, does the breaker have to pass the change? If the green signal is in operation, does the breaker have to pass the change? Обязан ли вступить дорогу при повороте налево? Ну, в зависимости. Что я сделал только что? Блять, что я сделал нахуй? Пиздец, просто я кончу. Сейчас открою теперь это. If the green signal some operations is both vehicles running from the opposite direction and pedestrian crossing, yes, all. Pedestrian crossing. Illegal protection of policemen's arms means increasing the speed of travel or hiding the crossing of the road pedestrians. Drive a motorcycle on public roads and refuse to collect biological sample to prevent alcoholism. Will you be penalized? Yes. On a 3-lane highway, traffic is blocked. Where will the intervention vehicles circulate? On the emergency lane. At the intersection where the traffic lights, where the traffic lights circulating, the driver of motorcycle is forbidden to turn. To stop the motorcycle, except for traffic situations. When leaving the motorcycle, you have the following obligations: prioritize the passing vehicles traveling on the road regardless of the direction of the travel. The road regardless of the direction of the travel. При торговании с места на мотоцикле у вас есть следующие обязанности. Вот это. What is the responsibility of the driver of motorcycle immobilized in the underground passage? Stop the engine and brighten the hazard lights. The vehicle carriers do not have cross priority. Vehicles with priority circulation. Vehicles that in the regular public transport service that are moving from the station provided with the alveolar. Vehicles that enter the roundabout intersection. How far should the driver of motorcycle use the audible warning device to prevent pedestrians and other vehicle drivers from at least 25 meters from them? When is driver of motorcycle is obliged to stop? When approaching an intersection or when it is signaled with the headlights. A signal of school patrols of pedestrians. Which of the vehicles do not have cross priority? Vehicles that send a slab in relation to the kilometer in the direction of walking the climb obstacle. Vehicles that come moving or coming out of garages and country yards. Garages and country yards, and those running on public road. The vehicle that makes a turn to left. Those running from the opposite direction. Так, все, значит, получается у нас тут... Так, значит, у нас тут уже 16 уже даже. Значит, у нас получается... Так, значит... Ой-ой-ой-ой, 38 минут. You have accidentally crossed the highway that you intend to hire. Так, move on until the next exit. Так, what is following is forbidden to stop motorcycle on a public road. At a distance less than 25 meters and after the station indicated for public transport person is less than 25. Значит, можно остановиться здесь. Может остановиться на расстоянии от меньше 50 метров от ближайшего перекрестка. Where should the motorcycle drivers engaged in the traffic not have to travel, resulting in material damage in order to obtain the findings? The nearest competent policeman until how should you signal the intention to overcome other vehicles when driving a motorcycle at night on a non-illuminated road in locality with the direction indicator lights? When driving on motorways, motorcycle drivers is forbidden to overcome other vehicles. To stop remedy malfunctions, to stay on emergency lane except in justified cases. Which of the following facts applies to the driver's license? For failing to comply with the legal provisions, stopping, for non-observance of the signals, indications, provisions of road placement with exercises of his duty, for violating the legal rule of vehicle signaling. Что? Нет, там было не проставили, что-то было другое. Что-то было другое, не помню уже. When another vehicle is running in the opposite direction, are you allowed to overcome? When another vehicle is running in the opposite direction, в противоположной стороне от меня, are you allowed to overcome? Not. Подождите, но получается, что... Что читал? При выполнении маневра не пресекается осевая линия. Вот. On the road sector signaled by this degree, they have the right to enter. Для сейчас говорю, обозначенный имеет право въезд vehicles without mother. This indicator means minimum speed limit. At the uninjured intersection between the county road and the communal or local one, the operating baseline is given vehicles running on the county road. A hemorrhage produced in one of the injured person's limbs will be stopped by comprehensive action on damaged vessel or the application of the garment. Driving license is void for following conviction by a final judgment for a traffic offense. Does the motorcycle in the image correctly excites the two cars? Not because regulation forbids this maneuver. In what order are the vehicles in the picture crossing the intersection? Уступи дорогу. Bicycle, значит, получается bicycle, truck, motorcycle. Bicycle, truck, motorcycle. Is it allowed to stop at the tram stop provided with pedestrian shelter? No, because it's forbidden by the law. When crossing the crossing sign is located at the level crossing without barriers, motorcycle that in place as close as possible to the railway, but not less. In place with maximum visibility without exceeding the indicator. Бля. Пресечь со знаком предупреждения на перекрестке постоянно напряжение. Ладно, я сама лайк сделаю себе. Способ with which you are exempt from across the priority. Vehicles from the regular public transport service which are moved from the station provided with alveolar. Автомобили организованных служб общественного транспорта, которые торгаются с остановки обороны, остановка безопасности. Укажите, какие транспортные средства освобождены от обязанности уступить дорогу. Укажите, какие транспортные средства Укажите, какие возможности обязанности уступать дорогу. Понятно, автобуса. In the unruly intersection, is driver or motorcycle obliged to give priority to passing vehicles of ambulance running from the left. Special device. Yes. Да. Which of the vehicles have crossing priority? Bus, motorcycle. Нет, truck, motorcycle. Truck, motorcycle. Truck, motorcycle. When a traffic light is in operation over each traffic lane, the driver motorcycle must observe the meaning of the light signal of traffic light installed on the sidewalk. The present significance of the light signal installed above the band on which it is located. Так, мы уже сегодня прошли уже 17 аж целых тестов. Это очень хорошо. Обычно я столько вообще не проходил вроде как. Может, 2 часа 45 минут. Да, это, конечно, было полегче. Это, конечно, только сейчас было очень тяжело, на самом деле. Ну, потому что скучно было очень сильно. Хотя где-то 2 часа там дальше где-то тогда было 20-30 минут, наверное, было очень тяжело. The indicator, it rests as a travel speed of the higher than 60 kilometers an hour. Which of the following factors considered a crime in the punishable as such? Leaving the accident site at the resulting damage. Removal from the obligation to submit to motorcycle to periodic technical inspections. Preparing, блять, ну да, я помню. Окей, я просто это сглупил. What do you need to keep in mind when driving alongside a string of stationary vehicle? What do you need to keep in mind when driving alongside a string of stationary vehicle? A door can be opened at any time with other occupants. It is prudent to return a big motorcycle on road sections with a continuous line. Road sections with stopping is prohibited. Подождите, да, я на всякий случай просто посмотрю. На. Вот это. Что? Что, блядь? Где запрещена остановка? Запрещена остановка? Пиздец, конечно. Ладно. This is просто. Which of the following facts are applied to the driver's license? Which of the following facts applies to... For non-observance of the signals indicating the position of the road policeman. For violating for failing to comply with the legal provisions stopping. Вот так. Does the biker enjoying an image go well beyond that? Yes, the maneuver allows maneuver. Yes, the law allows this maneuver. What obligations of the motorcycle driver to cross on the level with the current railroad with the piracy if they are being lifted? To ensure that it varies fully. Так, if the cop in front of an approaching motorcycle with his right horizontal arm extended, the driver must cop in front of approaching motorcycle with his right hand. Так, continue because the cop is not signaling to him. The indicator in the image forbids access all of the motor vehicles except the motorcycles without cars. What vehicles categories don't have crossing priority? With vehicles in the regular public transport service that are moving from the station. Vehicles to enter a roundabout. Блять, что-то есть на самом деле. Потом я хочу, я не перепроверяю просто на всякий случай. The ecological behavior in driving car involves avoid area with dense traffic with work on roads on rough terrain, route planning to save the fuel. The live rotation policeman's arms means increase the speed of travel and hurrying crossing the. What does the motorcycle driver when approaching the crossing with the barriers? Semi barriers. Two right lights working intermittently. Stops because the barriers are horizontal or are going to go down. What are obligations when on public road you do meet a vehicle belonging to an ambulance or service or main intelligence service who uses light and sound warning? With the speed and release band you're moving and moves close past the curb more land to stop immediately on the right side of the road. In a rural intersection, the driver of a motorcycle is obliged to give priority to fire extinguishing vehicle running from the left operating. Yes. If the truck is moving at the speed of less than 40 kilometers, can it be overtaken by the right hand of a motorcycle? Not because... No, in this case, it's really overcome by the right side. Meet this image with additional panel. Carefully being on narrow road sector. The victim who has lost much blood needs to be seated with the legs located above the body level. When the wounded mouth remains clenched, artificial respiration can be done through the victim's nostrils. Which of the following obligations rests with the driver's or motorcycle? Which of the following obligations rests? Что? Что это значит? Какие следующие обязанности показаны водителю мотоцикла? To reduce speed when passing by road policeman. To travel at speed lower than prescribed by the medium. Does the breaker in picture correctly ride the truck? No, in the case of overtake is prohibited. No, because it passes the road access. Would you drive your motorcycle on public roads and refuse to collect biological samples will you be penalized? Yes. Which of the following indicates warrants motorcycle drivers or motorcycle that have priority? Второе. Indicator 2. So, if a public road is unlit, is it allowed to park a motorcycle on the road? Yes. Yes, if parking lights are on. When the wounded mouth remains clenched, artificial respiration can be done through the victim's nostrils. Так, у нас тут 2 часа 53 минуты. To drive a car in a clean environment, it is recommended maintain a constant preferable medium. Вот это. Так. Can you go over the opposite direction of walking in meetings? Yes. What of cars must stop at the red signal? Car. Так. When it is allowed to cross a level with the barrier-free railway with the light signal if the train has just passed. When it's allowed to cross the level with the barrier-free railway after the red flashing light has gone out. What are the symptoms of cardiac arrest of a person who is victim of traffic accident? Lack of pulse. When which situation stop is prohibited? At roundabout intersections, on the unique streets, next to prohibited. Hemorrhage wounds in the initial phase. Clean the wounds, control wound dressing. Stop and bleeding. What is significance of the parking image? Pedestrian crossing marks. Banned reversed from slow moving vehicle space. What of the following facts is considered crime and as punishable is such? Remain on the motorcycle with traces of accident without police authorization. Так, car, motorcycle. Which of the vehicles has crossing priority? The truck, motorcycle. You have accidentally crossed the highway exit. You intend to hire. How much do you do? You have accidentally crossed the highway exit. Move until the next exit. Yellow signal allows you to change direction of travel to right. Be safely switched off. From what the distance if vehicles running from the opposite direction is driver motorcycle bound to use passing lights from at least 200 meters. Does the biker of adjoining image go beyond that? Yes, as law allows this maneuver. Is it permitted to turn motorcycles on road sections marked with a continuous line? Road sections where stopping is prohibited. Ох, боже мой, сколько я уже делал? То есть 19 уже, то есть я, получается, сделал уже 19. Так, сколько у нас еще? 12 часов? 2 часа 56 минут. Блять, господи. What is the definition of war on? Passing another vehicle in front of another in the same direction of track by changing the direction of travel and everything. It means whose new car has motorcycle crossing priority. Intersection of the road without priority. At a meeting whose new car has motorcycle cross priority. Простите, каким знаком мотоцикл имеет преимущество движения? Вот это. The signal of police officer in police car carried out of his arm with or without his stick on the right side of the vehicle means stop for drivers wearing speeding down by the сигнал дорожного полицейского начинает полицейский автомобиль под одной рукой или без с правой боковой стороны транспортного средства означает снижение скорости водителя вещества в полицейском автомобиле. Вот это. What is the order of passing vehicles? Так, уступить дорогу. Значит, получается car, потому что справа находится. Car, motorcycle, truck. The car, motorcycle, truck. Which of the following situations is it forbidden to stop motorcycle on public roads? At distance less than 25 meters before and after the station declared for public transport of people. What is maximum speed limit with the vehicle you're allowed to drive for a category A car on the county roads with the localities? What is maximum speed limit with which you're allowed to drive a category A car on the county road outside the localities? 50 километров. Сука, я, блядь, знал 90 километров. Я боялся, я просто забыл этот вопрос. What does the motorcycle driver do when approaching a level crossing with the barrier? Similar does to red lights work intermittently? Does red lights work intermittently, alternatively? Stops because the barriers are going to go down. At the junction between the national road and the county road, communal or local road, the cross priority is granted to junction between the national road and the county road, communal or local. National road, the junction between national road and county. When living with the motorcycle, you have the following obligations. To prioritize the passing of vehicles traveling on the road regardless of direction of travel. To prioritize the passing vehicles traveling on the road regardless of direction of. The figure in the image tells you that the road has a belt for slow moving vehicles. You must withdraw early in the right since. What is maximum speed limit with which you are allowed to drive a category A on national European roads as well localities? 100 километров. What is driving license is retained by the police? When is driving license retained by the police? For for violation of meaning. For exceeding the maximum permitted speed by more than 50 kilometers, intervening steel traffic light. Oblige drivers to reduce the speed and to travel to comply with the traffic laws applicable at that intersection. What is indicator which should be motorcyclists respect when encountering a stop sign installed on a functioning traffic light column? Which indicator should be motorcyclists respect? Which indicator should be respected encountering a stop sign? The meaning of the traffic light. You're approaching a forest road that enters the road on the right and from which an auto car comes. Who has to wait? The vehicle coming out of the forest road. What do you need to do when you meet the indicator in the image? Reduce speed. Make sure if other vehicles are on the priority road, stop to give priority. You're required to immediately stop the vehicle, motorcycle, and signals from the traffic guides of Ministry of Defense. In which situation can you be used signaling with the audible warning in the cases where the corking is forbidden, whenever necessary to avoid immediate danger. On roads are it allowed to stop and station the vehicles on the left side in directional walking. Roadsides are on what roads are it allowed to stop? Station. Are it allowed to stop and station the vehicle on the left side on directional walking? On a single way roads, if it like what? It's going to return motorcycle on roads section marked with continuous line. Road section where stopping is prohibited. Ой, боже мой, блядь, какой же пиздец. Сколько здесь у нас времени? Еще подождите, еще сколько получается там? Если по 5 минут мне будет занимать это. Мне 20 минут придется закончиться. The ecological behavior in a driving car involves avoid areas with dense route planning to save time and fuel, avoid areas with dense traffic. How do you approach an intersection where outside of the traffic lights that runs the green signal, do you also encounter the passage? Так, how do you approach an intersection where outside of the traffic lights that runs the green signal, do you also encounter the passage? Respect the significance of the road marker. Respect the significance of traffic light. What measures does the driver of motorcyclist engaged in the accident with the light damage? Remove the motorcycle out of the carriageway. What is meant by ecological driving car? A set of measures through which significant energy savings and environmental protection are achieved. Stop bleeding is done by tightly linking the arm above the wound. Я проверю на всякий случай, я не хочу рисковать. Над раной. What obligation do you have in given situation? Term of caution as in the indicator signifies the crossing with for pedestrians. Which of the following facts applies to the driver's license? For failing to comply with the legal provisions or something, or for violating legal, for failing for non-observance of signals, indication, or provisions of the road policeman of his duties. Так, what obligation do you have when you meet the indicator in the image of the additional panels to continue driving carefully being on a narrow road sector? Penalty points apply to moment or station or on the forbidden space is operating the traffic in motorway. Motorized vehicle, mopeds, and motorcycle without cars. Heavy situation stopping is prohibited. Situation of stopping is prohibited. At roundabout intersections. At roundabout intersections. Next to the паркая разится. Сейчас что-то подумал. In which of the situation stopping is prohibited? Так. In which situation is it forbidden to stop in which of the situation stopping is prohibited? At a distance less than 25 meters before and after station is for the public. At last distance less than 25 meters from the... Так. If the green signal is accompanied by a forward right indicator, the motorcycle traverses in all directions. Да. То есть на инте, то есть это вперед. Is it allowed to park the motorcycle in narrow road? Not. You have to stop the motorcycle at the signals from of school patrols, probation crossing near the educational establishments. Drive your motorcycle on public roads when refuse to the collection of will you be penalized? Yes. Intervening the yellow traffic light obliges the drivers to speed to surround compliance with traffic rules applicable at that intersection. Emergency lights are used in the following situation. From the vehicle it's unintentionally immobilized on the roadside of the while you're being towed. When you're disoriented about the route to follow. When the vehicle is naturally immobilized on the roadside or while you're being towed. The indicator warns you that the vicinity of the road there is a level crossing with the railroad without barriers. Так, вот, отлично. Все сделали. Теперь дальше. 21. 6. The ecological behavior in the driving car involves route planning to save time and fuel, avoid areas with dense traffic with or routes in rough terrain. What is the likely crossing order of vehicles? Уступи дорогу. Так, уступи дорогу, уступи, значит, bicycle. Значит, получается bicycle, motorcycle, car. Bicycle, motorcycle, car. What is the driver of motorcycle obliged to stop? What is the driver of motorcycle obliged to stop when approaching an intersection or when it is signaled with the headlights? Stop at parallel pedestrian crossing. What is the significance of thinking children? Так, слушай, what is the definition of motorcycle? Так, я не куплюсь на это. A two-wheeled vehicle with or without sidecar equipped with an engine than 15 cubic meters. Так, вот все. Так, it's forbidden to return the motorcycle on. It is forbidden to return the motorcycle on. It's forbidden to return the motorcycle on. Road section marked with continuous line. Road section where stopping is prohibited. Admitting at the indicator in the picture bagger may exceed more. Подожди, я знаю это. More motorized vehicles, mopeds, and motorcycles without car. You're approaching a crossing over the track and notice that barrier. Like you're approaching a crossing over the track and notice that the barrier is descending. How do you do? Stop in front of the barrier. Так, how do you sanction non-compliance by drivers with the obligation to stop signals from railway engines? With the fine and penalty points. Так, does the fact that vehicle on belts travel faster than vehicles on other track in the same direction of travel overtaken? Сейчас ли опережение факт, когда транспортное средство на одной полосе движется быстрее, чем транспортное средство на другой полосе, но нужно направление? Да. Нет? Wood paw fracture. How to fix a wood paw fracture? With tongues or stick bandage from toes to knees. What are your obligations on public roads? Do you meet vehicles belonging to ambulance service and regulations? To some attack with the speed and the real speed of your movement. What это? Так, the indicator allows access vehicle, mopeds and motorcycles. Vehicles without motors. Что, блядь, серьезно, нахуй? Пиздец, дегенерат. Traffic banned in both directions. What is the maximum speed limit with which you're allowed to drive category A motorway and highways? Максимально 130, я уверен. A couple of kids have crossed the street playing with the ball. How is this recommended to behave? Reduce speed backwards. Which of the following does license for one of the motorcycle without the right to drive be retained? When technical means of taking presence further. When the braking system is defective. Not. Is motorcycle overtaken correctly? Not. Are you allowed to drive the motorcycle on public roads without securing the carriage bay in both wheels? Are you allowed to drive a motorcycle on public roads without securing the carriage wheel in both wheels? Нет. О, блядь, 7 еще, осталось еще 3 раза. 3 маленьких раза всего лишь. Боже мой. How is a failure of pedestrian engagement across public roads to be punished when... Это получается вроде бы там with fine and инолерный прав. By fine suspicion of right to drive. The indicator image tells you that the road has a belt for slow-moving vehicles. The college in driving a car involves avoid dense traffic, work work in the roads in rough terrain, routes planned to save time and fuel, avoid areas with dense traffic. Station is forbidden. The road sections where overtaking is prohibited. Overtaking is prohibited. Like when a group of pedestrians engaged in crossing through the spot marked with marker, the guy has obligation to stop and give priority to walking pedestrian in their direction. What is the rule of cross priority at the intersection of two roads of the same category with the undirected traffic? right priority. How should the driver of motorcycle go to level with the trailer when barriers are raised? To reduce the speed of motorcycle to cross carefully, ensuring that railway vehicle is not approaching. What does this indicator in the image mean? Children. Дети. What obligation do you have on the signals where from the railway agents placed in crossing ways to confirm the meaning of their accident? When approaching an industrial railway, because will show increased caution. В смысле? Понятно. Там нет светофора вообще. Does the fact that the vehicle on the belt travels faster than the vehicle on another track? On another track. Нет. If you're on travel on roundabout, give priority to any vehicle. At the meeting of the current picture, the wagon may exceed motorized vehicles, mopeds with motorcycles without sidecar. If the red light of the traffic lights is in operation and the policeman signals the backwards pass, he must observe the signal made by a cop. He is allowed to turn off and stop the motorcycle in front of the railroad crossing barriers. He is allowed to turn off and stop the motorcycle in front of the railroad crossing barriers. It's allowed to turn off and stop the motorcycle in front of the... Будь здоров! Так. Нет, запрещено. Yeah, no, the return is in this place is forbidden. Which of the pointers in the image allows to turn left or right? To turn left or right. Второй индикатор. Второй. Два. Да. It indicator allows vehicles without mirrors. Cover is defined as follows. Passing vehicles так. Vehicle ahead of another. It's same by changing your direction. How should you drive as to reduce pollution? Press the accelerator. Press the accelerator pedal fully. Start the engine and start at the highest speed. Start the engine by accelerator. Start the engine by accelerator. Without accelerating the accelerator pedal and start immediately. Who has the obligation to wear a helmet while driving in public schools? On public motorcycle. People transported by motorcycle, their leaders. Some bleeding is done by tightly linking the arm above the wound. Which of the following allegations rested with the driver of motorcycle? Так, keep the plates with the registration number clean. To travel speed lower than the prescribed by the medium. What is it? Which, if the green signal is accompanied by forward or right, indicated the motorcycle driver is allowed to circulate. Так, if the green... If the green signal is accompanied by forward or right, only before or right. When approaching an industrial railway, the vehicle driver will show increased caution. Caution. You have to stop motorcycle and signals from members of patrol schools ministry. How is your favorite? Нет. Так, how is it? Is the failure of pedestrians engaged in growth? How is the failure of pedestrians engaged in crossing? To be honest, when they have the right, it's getting each forbids to access more vehicles. Accesses all motor vehicles except motorcycle without sidecar. A vehicle that signal the intention to change the left direction may be overcome. Because signal the intention to change left hand on the right side. At the signal of the policeman located in an intersection with the vertical upright, you have the obligation to stop no matter where you're driving. Stop. Влево, направо. Так, car, motorcycle, truck. The car, motorcycle, truck. What of the cars make it necessary to change the direction of the first street to the right? Второе. What is the maximum speed limit you are allowed to drive on the European National Road in locality A1? 50 километров на A1. What do you need to do when you meet the indicator in the image? Stop without crossing the corner of the ensure and give priority. Speed. Make sure if another priority stop to give priority. What obligation do you have on the signals from the railway engines placed in the crossing with the railroad? Come the meaning to the meaning of there. What does the motorcycle driver do when approaching the level crossing with the barriers? Do the right lights near the crossover indicators on and off alternatively? Stop the motorcycle without overtaking the indicator since the red lights and the alternative extinguishing of the right lights around the approach of the train. Так, which of the following animation allows you to turn right? Второе. In case of injured persons with common fractures, it is advisable to use means of dress without platform, namely. А что говорите calm? А что такое здесь написано реально? Никогда не понимал. В случае предстоящего перелома без мочки рекомендуется использовать. Which of the following indicates warn the motorcycle driver of their priority? Второй. Два. Does biker have overtaken correctly? Not because the partner permits overtaking. Not because it becomes approaching in the opposite direction. What if you're gas bandage apply to an open wound? Stop him. Ой, блядь, наконец. Так, и последний тест. Боже мой. What occasion does biker have to enter the first street to the right at the roundabout intersection? Подожди, Катя, я не смотрел. Ответь мне. What obligation does the biker have to enter the first intersection to the right at the roundabout intersection? What obligation does the biker have to enter the first street to the right? Cleaning motorcycle is forbidden. On pedestrian crossing. What does have property? Bus, truck, bus, car, bus, car, bus, car, bus, car, motorcycle, bicycle, car, motorcycle, bicycle. Malfunctioned. The indicator informs you motorway entry. What indicator you bumpy road? Does backer? No, no. In this case, it's serving to return the motorcycle on road section where stopping is prohibited. Road sections. Opria. A junction with you will encounter the green traffic lights and stopping there. You'll respect the mechanism of the traffic light. How will many luminaries does traffic body for pedestrians to bodies? You have to stop the motorcycle at a signal from members of school patrol pedestrian. Interpret yellow to oblige driver to reduce. When leaving a country yard on public road, the biker is an obligation to pass passing. What does a motorcycle driver do when approaching level crossing without barriers? The bright light near the crossover indicator turn on and off alternatively. Driver do when approaching level crossing without barriers. The red. Так, is there we're taking the barrier. Боже мой, блядь, я сделал это. Так, боже мой, я сделал это.